Anthony RedHatAugust Radzykewycz. My favorite word is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Fun, engaging, introductory. This course was made for anybody who is curious about how game hacking works and how these cheats are created to give people an unfair advantage. In this course, we'll be using Assault Cube. It's free and open source and also requires minimal resources to run it. It's also a very good entry in how many game hackers get into the scene. I grew up on video games, so definitely a big part of my life. Debugging a game is going to primarily focus on fixing issues with the game, whereas game hacking is going to be trying to make something unintended happen. The future of cybersecurity in the gaming industry is enormous. You have the game development arena where they're making the games and doing things like hooking into the kernel, which is rampant with all sorts of issues. Privacy for one example, and even crashing people's computer is another. And then, of course, you have the game hackers, which are creating bots out of these games. They're selling these products, they're selling cheats. And since gaming has actually become a sport in and of itself, of course that's going to raise issues on both sides in terms of the legitimacy of those competitors. There's a lot to get into on either side of the fence. Hopefully, you are doing it ethically, but yes, there are enormous implications into this. I learned about game hacking kind of late in my career and my knowledge set. However, when I learned it, I really wish that this is where I started because it takes complex concepts and it really simplifies the visibility into those. When you're dealing with things like memory allocation or CPU registers or how computers actually work and how programs process in runtime, I mean, this is an extremely great introduction into that. These skills later can be developed into exploit development, understanding certain types of vulnerabilities, such as buffer overflow, which requires exploit development for that, and also a developmental perspective as well if you're going to be on the developer track. I believe there are a lot of threat actors in the gaming industry. This goes well beyond creating cheats or bots, as described before, and also encompasses an area of when there are usually youth looking for free games on the internet. They'll pose payloads that look like they're the executable of the free game. Download now, execute this. But what's really happening is that person who executes that payload has their computer breached and subsequently their network as well. This is particularly dangerous if any of these payloads were to affect a computer that is connected to a work device or a work network as well, and it is a point of entry for many threat actors in the world. Ethical hackers in the gaming industry is a bit of a nuanced position. What do I mean by that? This course is going to give you an insight into how the hackers are creating cheats and manipulating memory, as it's being processed, to elicit some type of action. One of the primary things that we'll be doing is controlling our ammunition of various weapons and making sure that it never runs out. Well, the cybersecurity industry, especially in the gaming industry, is going to go well beyond that. They're going to want people who are debugging the code and fixing issues alongside knowing these techniques. So yes, they are in demand, but do understand that you will have to learn about network penetration testing, application penetration testing, a little bit about game development and coding in order to step into this. However, This course should serve as a very good insight on how attackers are using the tools in order to create these bots and create these cheats that are ultimately a sellable product online, and therefore contributing to the cat and mouse chase between these organizations, these game development companies, and these hackers.